Thursday, September 7th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. And now, a guy who wants to start a movement to put a hyphen in the word Kit Kat, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. J.P. Shadrick, Jeff Lageman is coming up from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. It is week one. We're on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube as well. And coming up on the show, week one, Jaguars Colts Sunday, 1 o'clock, Lucas Oil Stadium to kick off the 2023 season. The Jags offense ready to roll. Trevor Lawrence speaking earlier this week. We'll hear from the quarterback coming up. Calvin Ridley just moments ago wrapped up his locker room press conference. You'll hear that coming up on Jaguars.com a little bit later. Defending Anthony Richardson, a topic. And what will the Colts look like on offense without Jonathan Taylor? And then at 5 o'clock, it's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. Head coach Doug Pederson in studio with us coming up at 5 o'clock today. Let's hear from Jaguars offensive coordinator Press Taylor. It was coordinator day at the podium, and Press Taylor fired up to finally put on a show on Sunday.
Yeah, we're certainly excited to, all the things we've worked on since we got together in April of trying to put that, into action and see how that applies to all our guys, see all our guys play together. It's from our standpoint, it's just fun as coaches to get to watch our guys go out and compete, stakes on the line, all that type of stuff. So we're certainly excited.
On the other side of the ball, the challenge, defending rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson out of the University of Florida, dual threat. How do you do it, Mike Caldwell?
That's the thing about him. He's a great athlete, and he's developing into a quarterback. You see him make great throws at times, but the wild card is you never know where he's going to be. He can scramble at any time. They can use him in many different ways. So the unknown's there. We've gone back and tried to study as much as we can as far as what they like to do with young quarterbacks and what Florida how Florida used him. But at the end of the day, we're going to go out there and do what we've been, programmed to do. Go out there and play hard-nosed defense.
It's Mike Caldwell, defensive coordinator, and the full press conferences from both. Heath Farwell, also the special teams coordinator, available on Jaguars.com. Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home. Check out ZipChair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. It's time to welcome in Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman on this Thursday afternoon. Good afternoon, Jeff.
Afternoon, JP.
It's week one.
It is.
At long last. The long wait is over, nearly.
Fantastic.
Here it comes.
I mean,
Real football
here.
tonight.
Yeah, it's here. We got the Kansas City Chiefs against the Detroit Lions tonight. Got kickoff night, kickoff weekend coming up. Division opponent against the Colts. And you get the Colts twice in the first 6 weeks of the season, which is, I think, even better because you got a rookie quarterback starting. I mean, if you're going to face a team that has a rookie quarterback getting his first start ever, I mean, why not get him in the first 6 weeks? I mean, that's set up perfectly.
Get him twice in the first 6 weeks.
Yeah, before he figures anything out.
That's right, exactly. That's fantastic.
But I mean, but that's the unknown part about this game that it probably makes you a little bit nervous.
How nervous are you?
Well, I think you're always nervous because the first week is always, you thought you did know, but you really did know. Kind of week one kind of does things like that, and that you thought teams were not that good, and then all of a sudden they were good. But the reality is that the Colts have a young quarterback, a rookie at the helm, and then they've got a young back end and secondary. And this football team that the Jaguars have, they're good against the run, okay? Anthony Richardson's probably going to be more of a running quarterback. He's not very polished in the passing game. That's not where he's going to be very good at. That's probably a Jaguars defensive weakness if there is one. The Jaguars' offensive strength, they got a multitude of weapons. The weakness of the Colts defense is the back end and the secondary. They're very young. So as far as matchups go, I mean, this is a really good matchup in my mind for this Jaguars football team. But again, it's week one, and crazy things can happen.
Unscouted looks, some weird plays you might not see coming, some guys breaking out. It's like, wait, who is this guy?
That's why they pay the coaches all the big money.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's why they pay them to figure out exactly what the Colts are going to do on offense. I mean, defensively, you know what they're going to do. Gus Bradley's he doesn't have any secrets. His defense is about as vanilla as it is. He just teaches players to play fast, and he coaches them to understand what the offense is trying to accomplish. But the Colts offense is a little bit of a projection.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the running back's not there, Jonathan Taylor. So
yeah, but that's okay. That doesn't change the system.
Right, but it changes the production of the running game.
Changes the player, absolutely.
You would think the system, you don't really know what it is.
I think they do. I think they got a pretty good idea.
Well, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, I mean, first of all, and if you had a chance to watch Steichen, did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, Steichen,
congratulations.
The new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, he talked at length about this, and then also you just kind of read between the lines of what some of the things that the Jaguars coaches are talking about. But Steichen talked about, hey, look, when you have a young quarterback, you go back and you watch the college film to gain a really good understanding of what he liked and what he excelled at. And then you try to, and Jim Bob Cooter talked about this as well, and that you try to incorporate some of those things into your system, even though you may not have had it in your system, just because you want the young quarterback to feel comfortable. And then I'm sure that they took a look at what they were able to do with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, particularly against the Jaguars last year, which was very successful, and it kept the Jaguars' defense off balance. So I'm sure they've got a little bit of that in their playbook, but no one playbook is ever exactly the same as another team or a college team. So it's a blend of some of those things. And so I think the Jaguars are prepared for that. And the most important thing that the Jaguars, though, need to do is they need to tackle well in this game. If they tackle well, stop the rushing attack for the most part of the Colts, then I don't see how they lose this game if they protect the football as well.
Hold on to the football, tackle them when they get out there. And, hey, that was a problem a lot of last season. They've said it. Mike Caldwell said it earlier this offseason. The number one thing we needed to work on was tackling. They had so many missed tackles.
Well, and it's hard to work on tackling anymore, right? In the National Football League, because you're limited on what you can and can't do from a practice standpoint.
Yeah.
You can't be in full pads practicing tackling, so you have to be creative as a coaching staff to find different ways to teach the philosophy and the fundamentals of it.
It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're with us. This Jaguars offense will be unleashed, finally, for the first time in its full bore.
It's going to be fun.
I cannot wait to see what Doug Pederson and Press Taylor and Mike McCoy and all the offensive coaches have up their sleeve. And I'm curious what Doug Peterson's going to say in the 5 o'clock hour of the Doug Pederson show. We'll ask him. But, there's so many options on offense. All these weapons, Ridley, Kirk, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, running backs. How do you narrow it down for just a game plan and stick with that? There's so many things you want to get out there, but it's a long season.
I think you got to be true to the system. But when I say that, some people might get the impression that, okay, the system doesn't take into account the talent that you have. It does. Okay, but when you have a system in place, the system itself is designed for the talents of Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley and Zay Jones and Evan Ingram and Bretton Strange, Tank Bigsby, ETN. All those guys are part of the design. But once the ball is snapped, where that ball ends up sometimes is up to the man that's got the keys to the car, and that's Trevor Lawrence. And so I think the big challenge with this football team this year is going to be making sure that they stay unselfish and that they're willing to do because, JP, that was like the calling card of the offense last year. If Zay had a big game, Christian was happy for Zay. If Evan had a big game, everybody was happy for Evan. If ETN was able to dominate on the ground, Trevor was happy for him. If you can stay that way and just make the offense function at a high level, and I'm saying the offense function at a high level without trying to force feed it to certain guys, I think this offense will be unstoppable.
And Calvin Ridley, just moments ago, as we said, wrapped up. They had open locker room just about 20 minutes ago, if that. And he's echoed the same thing. They asked him, hey, what do you want to get done this year? He's like, I just want to win.
Win.
Like, just win, man. Like, that's what he brought up, and he's continued. He's been that way throughout training camp, and he's been that way now in the preseason, and now in week 1 he's saying the same thing. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, there was a play that I did on social media this week, and if you remember the game against the Miami Dolphins.
Are you promoting your own video? I
Yes,
like this.
I am.
I love that.
And it was
good.
Ridley when he had the toe tap along the boundary.
Yes.
Okay.
Falling backward, yes.
And I think that play is a perfect example of, pretty amazing, and that sometimes you got to not necessarily stay true to the system, but you understand what the players are in the system, right? When Trevor takes that ball, if you remember, Miami ended up bringing a linebacker and blitzed off of the outside edge. Cam Robinson has to come off of Bradley Chubb, the defensive end, to block the linebacker because he was the most dangerous guy. Well, the easy completion, easy throw for Trevor with Chubb in his face essentially right away is to dump it to Bigsby in the flat on the left-hand side. Easy completion probably would have gained 10, 12, 15 yards.
Not
first
a bad
down.
play.
First
Fine.
down.
Sure.
Line up, play another down. Well, he chooses to throw it to Calvin Ridley, and Ridley's down the field. It's basically a zone concept that Vic Fangio dials up. Kind of gave the impression it was going to be man, but in that instance with Ridley in that zone alone with a defensive back cornerback, it's essentially man coverage. Trevor takes a calculated risk and throws it up. And the calculated risk is, I've got Calvin Ridley on my team.
And you don't.
And that guy's not as good as Calvin Ridley. So I'm going to throw it up. And he throws it up. And Calvin makes a tremendous catch, does an amazing job with his feet. And bam, you're down there at point-blank range. And that's what I think is exciting about this offense.
And it feels like you could see more of that type of calculated risk in a certain area of the field this year because of the ability of the kicking game.
Yes.
And maybe you can, hey, let's take a shot here. If we don't get it, let's settle for this 52-yard field goal. We'll come back later and try to cash in the touchdown. But, but then again, knowing Doug Pederson, the 4th and 2s, he's not afraid to go for those no matter who's the kicker and who's on the offense, depending on how that game's going.
And I think in this week in particular, you got to be careful about not taking too much of those shots down the field, calculated risk things, for two reasons. And Doug talked about this extensively. And there was a recent article in the Sporting News or somewhere that he talked about Trevor's development and Trevor's starting to learn the I guess football better than he ever has.
Look at Sports Illustrated.
And he talked about that in particular, what you're talking about. Hey, when you're in field goal range already, just realize that and understand that, so you may not be as aggressive because you got 3 points on the board potentially. With Brandon McManus, you're golden, right? But this week I think is a little bit unique in that you have a Gus Bradley defense and you've got to be patient with it. So you can't take some of these calculated risks that you might normally do down the field because they're going to give you some of the underneath stuff. You go back and you look at the 2 games the Jaguars played against Indianapolis last year, and I think Trevor was 45 of 52, over 85% completion rate, had 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and that was all essentially taking what the Colts defense gave them, quick stuff underneath. And sometimes I think as a quarterback you want to get greedy and you want to take a chunk, explosive plays, 20 yards, 25 yards, throw go. But if the Colts are going to continue to give you that underneath stuff, just stack plays together. The points will eventually come. And I think that's one of the challenges this week with Trevor and the offense is to stay patient and take the plays that are there.
We're back in a moment. We'll hear from the quarterback, Trevor Lawrence. You might have heard of him. Number 16, long blonde hair. Year 3. Year 2 in this offense.
Well, I used to have hair like that.
I did too, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, long
You
time
had the full
ago.
locks?
Long time ago.
Did you get it back in a ponytail too, JP?
Yeah. Not recently. It's been a minute. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water. It's worth saving. We're off and running on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Hey, Jags fans, are you tired of roof leaks raining on your parade? Don't worry, Universal Roof and Contracting has got you covered. Their expert team of roofers will get your roof back in the game so you can focus on cheering on the Jags. Locally owned and operated, they've serviced Florida homeowners for over 30 years. Visit universalroof.com to schedule your free estimate today. Universal Roof and Contracting, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. License number CCC 1330747, CVC 1258484.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free Coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Everyone always asks about expectations and how you deal with them. Like, you don't really deal with them, you just don't listen to them. Like, what does it matter what, this guy said over here? He's not in our locker room, he's not a part of our team. And even if he said something good, we go out and lose Sunday, everyone's going to be like, oh, I told you they weren't going to be any good. So it doesn't really matter, what people say or, so we just have to keep our ship tight. And I think that's the biggest thing that coach has done a good job of is making sure we do that and managing all those expectations, because that's just they're not real. It's not a real thing. We have to go play every Sunday and put our best foot forward, and you can't do that if you're listening to what other people are saying.
That's Trevor Lawrence, Jaguars quarterback. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're with us on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com. Jaguars YouTube, we are everywhere when you're looking for Jaguars football.
What's that line?
Everywhere you
Herm
want to be.
Edwards? No. Herm Edwards. I'm thinking in reaction to what Trevor was saying right there. Herm Edwards. That's why you play the game.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's kind of what Trevor is saying right there.
Yeah, all the outside expectations, things. Hey,
all the hype that we're throwing out there.
We're guilty.
But, look, the reality is, you feel good about this football team. Why would you not feel good about this team? The number – if there's any questions, okay, to be the pessimist here, okay? And I'm not very pessimistic about this football team, but if I had to be pessimistic, okay, what am I concerned about? Well, I'm concerned about the offensive line a little bit. Can they protect Trevor? But I feel really good about Trevor's ability to help protect them.
Yeah, right.
Okay, counterpoint to that.
Get it out quick. Design it different.
All the great quarterbacks do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think Trevor has that ability. I think he showed it last year. He was able to, in the final 9 games of the season, his quarterback rating was unbelievable. He had, 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and was the offensive line at their best? No. But he was so good down that stretch of final games. It was just, that was a lot of him. But if I'm being pessimistic again, okay, the offensive line is a little bit of a question mark, especially because you have Walker Little playing left tackle. He had 3 games to wrap the final season up, the regular season up last year, and then went into the playoffs, obviously, with the injury to Cam Robinson. Can he hold up? Okay, can he hold up for the first 4 games until Cam can come back? How about left guard? How about Ben Barch? Okay, last year ended up the year on the injury reserve, had a significant knee injury. The only time that he had in the preseason was against Miami.
That's right.
Can he play a whole game? Is he going to be okay? Mm-hmm. I think with Sheriff and Fortner on the inside, you're okay. You got a rookie right tackle that had to miss some camp time with a bad right shoulder. Can that hold up? Okay, so those are some concerns defensively. Can they rush the passer effectively enough to consistently affect the passing game of opponents? I think that's a legitimate concern. Can they do it? You have Josh and you have Trayvon. Trayvon had 3.5 sacks last year. Mm-hmm. Okay, Josh was one of did not have great numbers. What do you have? 7 sacks last year, I think. Josh had 7.
Somewhere in there. Yep.
He was one of the more productive guys, according to PFF, as far as pressure rates go. Trayvon was in the bottom half of edge rushers last year. Can he get better?
4 of the 7 sacks for Josh Allen came in the final 5 weeks of the season.
Okay, there's you go. There's another act of pessimism. Okay,
just saying.
Trayvon Walker, 3.5 sacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Can he get better to justify a first overall pick? I think he will, but the reality is that until you see it, you don't know.
Well, in theory, right? We talked about this all offseason. The offense is going to be that much better, hopefully starting faster, playing with leads, preferably 2-score leads, where in the second half teams are having to throw the ball.
JP,
right?
It's not very. How many teams play with 2-score leads?
Well, let's say it's a you have a lead in the fourth quarter. In theory, that team's throwing the ball.
This is a 1-score league though, for the most part.
Okay, but you're throwing to get back in the game.
Yeah. No, I totally understand what you're saying.
It gives you
being more obvious passing situations. The defense can be better. And I hope so. But here's the other question. All right, you have 2 corners, okay, that finished the year up last year. But are those corners – I like Tyson Campbell. I really like him. Okay, but this is a 3-cornerback league. JP, who's the third corner? Who's your second corner?
Well, Darius Williams is the other second corner.
Darius Williams, okay.
Yes.
What kind of a year did you think he had last year?
It got better at the end when they moved him outside.
Got better at the end? Okay, was it great?
No, I wouldn't say it's great.
No, it wasn't great. When's the last time he had an interception in his career?
It's a good one. I'm going to guess – it was in L.A. when he was with the Rams.
Just give me a year.
I'm going to guess 2021.
Yeah, go back to 2020. It's been a while.
That long?
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, just plain – okay, who's the third corner? Who's your nickel?
Trey Herndon's the nickel.
Okay.
Veteran player.
All right. Was Trey okay?
It's okay.
Sure. Can he play man?
Well, no, probably
being a
not.
pessimist here. I think that this.
I think he's better in zone.
Very good in zone. I don't think there's any questioning that.
But you
really good tackler too.
You know with him that he's going to be in the right place.
Consistent.
He's a smart player.
Dependable.
And sometimes that's just what you need.
But I bring all this up to say that, look, there's no team in the National Football League that doesn't have some concerns or questions. And does this team have some concerns or questions? Sure it does. But I think the excitement level and the positives of this football team far outweigh some of the concerns or questions. Defensively, and here's another question, or should I say being the doubter here. Okay, I'm playing the doubter's role. Devin Lloyd, can he take that next step this year? Last year, remember he got benched a couple games. Chad Muma ended up being the starting other linebacker next to Foye Oluokun for a couple games.
Devin sounds different this year. Like
he looks
different.
I love
sounds
JP.
like his world is calm.
If I was to wear one jersey, you know what player jersey I would wear?
If you were going down to
if
the
it
store,
wasn't Trevor Lawrence,
down to the store here
Right.
outside the
Exactly.
Electric Center and to buy one, who would you buy?
exactly. If it wasn't Trevor Lawrence, because I probably wouldn't look as good in 16 as he does, because I'm not as lean and trim, I'd wear 33.
Would you?
I'm Devin Lloyd's biggest fan. I think he's going to be – I think he's geared up for a tremendous year. Love him. I love everything about him. I love the way he goes about his business. I love the way he works. Love the way he plays the game. I love how athletic he is. He seems to be a magnet at times.
Is this his kind of game?
I think this is a big year for him.
Yeah.
But again, he struggled last year.
Yeah.
But I want to see him do it.
Is this his kind of game against a big physical running quarterback?
Let me say this. Games like this are very difficult for linebackers. You go back to the Philadelphia game last year, and the Jaguars had no answer for Jalen Hurts in the offense, right?
No.
I mean, just didn't.
Not many teams did.
No. I mean,
yes.
it's a tremendous offense.
Yeah.
And with Jalen's ability to run the RPO stuff, and then you got the passing game off of that, when you face an offense like the Jaguars are getting ready to face against the Colts, and it's what we expect, we haven't seen it, but we're expecting this kind of an offense, you're going to see a ton of Anthony Richardson, that read option, RPO, passing game stuff where he sticks it in the belly of the running back. He could hand it off. He could keep it. He could fake the handoff, and instead of running it, take a couple steps back, and as the linebackers are being sucked up with the play action, throw it over their heads on a little slant route over where they were at. So this is a challenging game for the linebackers. And you'll hear me talk about this in our broadcast on Sunday, that Devin Lloyd and Foye Oluokun need to have really good games this week for this team to do well, because it is a challenging test for linebackers to face a system like this and a talent of the level of Anthony Richardson. JP, I watched the guy in preseason now.
Yeah, he did well.
Dudes can't get him down.
Yeah.
I mean, JP, you see Cam Newton, right?
Yeah.
This is a bigger version of Cam Newton.
Wider. Cam was 6'6" and built pretty well.
Anthony Richardson
is about 6'4" and thicker.
Built better.
That's right.
Is built better, like lower body fat, stronger, I think.
That's right.
Probably a little faster than Cam, if I had to guess.
I don't have to chase either one down. Numbers. I know that.
But when you watched him in the preseason, and obviously at University of Florida, I mean, he plays sometimes like he's a man amongst boys, and that when guys go to tackle him, they just kind of fall off of him, and they can't hold on to him. He's just so powerful, and
especially in the secondary, those guys bounce off of him.
Even some of the linebackers, some of the defensive linemen, you just don't see quarterbacks that have that kind of strength. And I said this earlier in the week, and it's not very often that you have to have a tackling plan for a quarterback. Okay. Now, look, when I say tackling plan, you typically have to have a tackling plan for a guy that's big and strong.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry-ish, right?
Plan.
You literally had Derrick Henry tackling drills.
As we know, sometimes that doesn't even work.
No.
Against Derrick
And
Henry.
you had Derrick Henry tackling drills, right?
Yeah.
I mean, specific.
That's right.
The Jaguars used to have Derrick Henry tackling drills. So when you go against Anthony Richardson, you have to have a tackling plan, much like you did against Derrick Henry, because Anthony Richardson's that big and strong. And so the running game is going to be where it's at for the key for this defense. If you can really limit them and force Anthony Richardson to be a passer, I think he struggles big time, because he's just young. He's young. And he's raw, and he doesn't even have a lot of experience under his belt in the collegiate system, much less one in the NFL.
Speed it up for him. Speed it up. Speed up the game. Force him to throw some up down the field and see what happens on the back end. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. Plenty ahead. Kai Stevens, Jaguars reporter, standing by. She'll join us in studio. Her thoughts about the last couple days. Open locker room for the first time in the 2023 regular season. And Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. It's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com. Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie this football season, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS. You know what you expect at an airport hotel. A bed, a shuttle that's never on time, and if you're lucky, a day-old Danish on your way out the door. But at the Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you get a renovated lobby, restaurant, and bar, and 10,000 square feet of luxurious space for memorable family and business events. So stop by, stay a while, and expect to be surprised. Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport. Book online or call 1-877-2-CROWN. That's 1-877-227-6963.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for the best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Of course, we all want to have good stats and we want to play well. Like that'd be ideal. You do that and win the game. But when we're talking about guys, like you should always, if you win the game, doesn't really matter what your stat line is. Even if you have 1 catch, no catches. If I, threw 2 picks and we win, obviously I'm not going to be happy with my performance, but I'm going to celebrate with the team. I'm going to be happy we won the game. That's what this league's about. It's hard to win. So when you find ways to win, that's the cool thing about our team is we enjoy it. We understand that it's hard to win, and we have that perspective of it's not really about personal stats, individual stats. It's about the team.
That's the quarterback, of course, Trevor Lawrence. Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Kai Stevens, Jaguars reporter, joining us in studio in the Hyundai Studios.
The Hyundai Studios. Yes, thank you for having me.
MEC, good to see you. All right, locker room open the last 2 days. First chance we've really had to be in there with the players. It wasn't open during training camp. So, hey, the mood seems light. They're ready to go work, and that's a good place to be for this team.
I think they're at the same point we're at. I don't know if it's excitement or if you're just like, all right, let's play football. Like, I don't know. We got to see them now. Like, they actually have to play some football. And as much as we want to say on paper, everything looks great and this offense should be something, now they have to actually go out and do it. So hopefully we see a lot of that on Sunday. And against the Colts, that's certainly possible because of all this stuff going on over there.
Yeah, there's a lot happening in Indy. And,
well, it all starts at the top.
Well,
and
trickles down. But, I mean, hey.
You go back to last year, and you think about it. Frank Reich, who is a highly respected coach, he gets canned after, I think it was like a 3-5-1 start.
Yep.
3-5-1. Okay, with a team that, for real, doesn't have great personnel. Okay, they can him and have an issue at quarterback, so they take Matt Ryan, they want to bench him, who's the best option. I mean, look, you may not like Matt Ryan, but he's your best option. Then you're going to bring in
beat the Jags,
Jeff Saturday, which, look, I like Jeff. I think he's awesome on TV, and I think he's got a great personality. Guy hasn't ever coached. You bring him in as the head coach, interim coach. I mean, there's a thing that there's a term that you can use for that, JP. Okay, and it's kind of a two-word. You put it together, and both words start with S's. The last word is show. I'll let you figure the rest out.
I thought you were going to give it to us.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Choices were made.
Yeah.
Interesting choices were made.
Yeah.
And they're still being made. I mean, the running back's not available. So, okay, that has gone on. We'll hear from Fred Taylor on that. I talked to Fred Taylor today about it, and we'll hear from Fred coming up on Countdown to Kickoff. His thoughts on that running back situation.
Are you promoting yourself again?
I am, yes. You can catch it on the official Jaguars podcast.
Get me grief
for it. All right.
It's free on the iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you download podcasts. But, hey, when that's going on, it puts so much more pressure on that rookie quarterback.
And that's the point. You don't have to game plan for Jonathan Taylor, so all of your focus can go into Anthony Richardson. And if you're a rookie, you're dealing with so many things. You guys have seen rookies start over the years and what that can look like. So Anthony Richardson is going to be dealing with that without anybody to bail him out. So he's going to basically be the quarterback and the running back essentially in this game on Sunday. And that could be getting really ugly depending how things go, how early and how quickly the Jags score. It could be not great.
And, oh, by the way, the running back that you are going to roll out there and start, he just got back to practice because he had a broken arm.
Yeah. He's on the report this week. Yeah, that's not ideal.
And the guy that you're not going to play, your starting running back, by the way, 2 years ago he led the league in rushing with 1,811 yards, I think it was. Pretty good.
That all said,
he might help a rookie quarterback that you just drafted.
Yes. We're talking about.
Did you, by the way, did you see what the general manager said?
I'm sure he said a lot of things.
Well, he was asked about that whole situation, and his response was, "You pay good players."
Interesting.
Wow.
I said interesting choices were made.
All these choices, all these things we're talking about. Well, you better go out and play well against this team, or. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, this Jags. If
the Jags lay an egg, we're going to have a big problem. Yeah.
Hype around this team. Well, as Calvin Ridley told me a couple weeks ago, we just got to go play good. Like, we have to go play before we can get all these accolades and deserve them. They understand this. It's business at hand this week.
And I think at this point they get that too. They try to tone us out as much as they can. I think to not listen to the hype, if you will. Trevor saying as much as at his presser, just saying, we try to tone that out, not listen to it, and just do what we need to do. And you can tell they're comfortable. They're happy with where they're at. And I think we will see that hopefully very early in the game and not trailing and doing dramatic comebacks like we saw last year. Hopefully we'll see it right out of the gate.
If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, look no further than Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between. This truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who is the MVP of this game Sunday, Kai?
It's always Trevor, but
beyond Trevor,
who he decides to make the other MVP.
Yeah.
I think it'll be either Christian Kirk or Zay Jones, because I think obviously you got to put so many resources into Calvin, and I think either of those two might benefit from it if you try to cover the slot. And Christian, I think Zay might be the one that gets left out, so he's the one that ends up getting maybe more balls thrown his way.
Why has he got to be an offensive guy?
I mean,
it
true.
doesn't have to be.
You're going against a rookie quarterback. It could be anybody on defense.
It could be Andre Cisco with 3 picks. It could be a couple sacks.
Could be. I mean, I can tell you this, and I mentioned this earlier. The linebackers got to play big.
I'd love to see a good day from Devin Lloyd too.
Yeah. Just Foye, and of course, I'm a fan of Devin Lloyd. I'll wear his jersey next week if he gets a couple takeaways.
You will.
Oh yeah.
2 takeaways is all it's going to take.
Yeah.
Force a fumble or recover a fumble, or just
or interception.
If he's involved in 2 takeaways,
involved.
Yeah.
Involvement.
You heard it here. I think it's like this is, Gus Bradley's defense likes to play back, make you work the field, and matriculate the ball down the field. It's tight end. It's a tight end game. I think this is Evan Ingram. I think this is Christian Kirk on the short stuff just past the linebacker.
They can do that short stuff with anybody, though.
They can.
Yeah.
But I think those two guys, this is kind of their game, and they can just kind of build up yardage as it goes along.
I agree with you, and here's one little piece of food for thought, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Who looks amazing in short area quickness? Talking skill position for the Jaguars.
Oh, Christian Kirk.
Right?
And Calvin.
Exactly.
Calvin, yeah.
I mean, those two guys right there.
Yep.
I mean, if I'm going to pick an offensive guy, skill position guy, in
Go
this because you're going to get them the ball quick and then let them work their magic doing all that stuff. And when of course, those on radio is like, what's that stuff? And I did the little movement with my hands, like, they're moving quickly. And Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk got short area quickness. I thought that Christian Kirk was special until I saw Calvin Ridley this year in camp.
He really does make everyone else look slow, and then not a knock on him at all. He's just Calvin's so fast and so talented.
Stop and start. I mean, man. I mean, it's just, how does somebody have that ability? And the great thing about Calvin is that he's got that skill set, but then he also has the other skill set that goes along with being a vertical wide receiver, which is rare. A lot of times guys have kind of one or the other. Like, for example, Michael Pittman Jr. this week. I mean, big, rangy, possession receiver, can't do that jitterbug stuff, and short area stuff. He's one of those guys that you're just going to throw him the ball and he's going to catch it and then he's going to kind of get tackled. Mm-hmm. And with Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk, once they get it, then you kind of hold your breath a little bit.
It's kind of when the fun starts, once they get the ball.
Yeah. Give them the football, let them go to work. Hey, television tonight. I got two TV stars on the show.
Big time.
Right now.
You're amongst greatness here.
I don't know what to do here.
Yeah, but we're not the biggest stars tonight.
We are not the biggest stars tonight.
We have a really big star
You
tonight.
think it's going to be a tight end game. Well, Evan Ingram's going to be with us at Strings tonight for All Access.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Evan's awesome.
He is awesome.
He's fantastic. He's I don't remember a locker room, and I've been here for all of them in different capacities, obviously from a player to, analyst all these years. And I don't remember a locker room that had like the quality of guys that are in this one, from Evan and Zay and Christian and Trevor. I mean, just high-class guys, high-character guys. I mean, it's awesome. And so tonight for Jaguars All Access, we have the tight end himself, Evan Ingram, and so excited to have him on. And because he's just so thoughtful, well-spoken, good football player, love the way he works. I mean, he's a guy that takes his job seriously, and most importantly, he loves this football team.
And he loves some Jacksonville as a whole, for sure.
So come check it out tonight. Strings Sports Brewery, Springfield, 7 o'clock.
Yep, we start at 7.
Yeah, I'll buy you a beer if you come tonight, JP.
I think that should be enough to get you there.
Wow, that didn't take much at all.
I mean, you bought me one last time,
Yeah, that's true.
I'll buy you one tonight.
Well,
be after a quick one, though, because I'm going to get home and watch that football game.
There's a football game tonight. There's things going on.
Yeah.
Who do you like in the game tonight, Kai? Chiefs,
I got to go with the Chiefs until you don't.
Until otherwise.
Yes.
It's a good policy, I think.
Yeah, and I won't next week. I'll go Jags next week. So
next
this is the 1 week, and then next week, no.
Next week
I think
is
this is going to be a
otherwise.
really good football game, though.
I think so.
I do.
The Lions are going to be...
Is Kelsey going to play, did they say?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Kansas City does not have Chris Jones.
Also, yes.
They said he might be in a suite at the game, though.
Hilarious.
Patrick Mahomes has a new band of receivers.
He does.
Kadarius Toney kind of expected to be the number one, but he really hasn't shown that he can be yet.
Game time decision for Kelsey tonight. But
Yeah, and he's got the knee.
Yes.
I think that this is going to be a really close football game, but Mahomes will find a way.
He always does, it seems.
Usually does. Until next week.
He's good.
Yes, until next week.
Kai, have a great show tonight.
Thank you.
Kai Stevens joining us. Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. The injury report, our final thoughts coming up. Then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from the Jaguars head coach in studio. And this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com. Don't get sacked by a no-name propane rookie this football season, Jacksonville. Draft an all-star and switch to AmeriGas, the official propane provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the homes and businesses who know it was always the Jags. Show off your Duval pride at your next tailgate with a Jaguars grill tank from AmeriGas. To find an AmeriGas exchange location near you or to order a propane fill-up for your home or business, visit AmeriGas.com/Jacksonville-Jaguars or call 844-PRO-JAGS. You know what you expect at an airport hotel. A bed, a shuttle that's never on time, and if you're lucky, a day-old Danish on your way out the door. But at the Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport, you get a renovated lobby, restaurant, and bar, and 10,000 square feet of luxurious space for memorable family and business events. So stop by, stay a while, and expect to be surprised. Crowne Plaza Jacksonville Airport. Book online or call 1-877-2-CROWN. That's 1-877-227-6963.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading organizations across the country to deliver workforce solutions. As a proud sponsor of your Jacksonville Jaguars, CSI crafts personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has over 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans that cover over 6,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call the MVPs at CarShield for their best coverage ever. Call 800-471-1223. 800-471-1223. Go Jags!
Jaguars Happy Hour is brought to you by the St. Johns River Water Management District. Florida's water, it's worth saving. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars Happy Hour. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM. On the big stick today, Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. Time for the injury report presented by Baptist Health and the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute, the official sports medicine provider of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it has just come down about 45 minutes ago. The Jaguars have 2 players on the list this week. Antonio Johnson, rookie safety, hamstring injury, has not practiced this week. Doug Pederson said earlier this week that he did not expect him for maybe another week or 2. We'll see how that hamstring goes. A lot of people excited to see what he can do when he's finally out there. He was really good on special teams in the preseason. That's a little bit away. Tyler Lacey with a hip injury, limited Wednesday and Thursday in practice, the defensive lineman, the rookie out of Oklahoma State. The Indianapolis Colts have 2 players on the list. Running back Zach Moss, forearm injury, limited yesterday and today. And then Shaq Leonard in the concussion protocol and now out of the protocol. He practiced full yesterday, full again today. He should be a green light for the game, and it's been a while. He was banged up a lot last year. Back stuff going on. I mean, he had a lot happening. But when he's out there and he's healthy and he's playing at a high level, it is an all-pro level.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He had like 2 back surgeries. He had an ankle issue, a broken nose last year, concussion protocol.
Sounds like Jeff Lageman.
No, but this was all like in 2 years. I mean, the guys had it all put together. He kind of limped his way at the end of the 2021 season, and then last year his back was just not great. And, if he's on the field, he can be an absolute takeaway machine. I mean, the guy's numbers are impressive, so essentially if you look at him from not even really played a full 5 years, here's some of the numbers that he's had. 17 forced fumbles, 12 interceptions, 15 sacks, and this is from a stand-up linebacker. I mean, that's incredible numbers, which I don't know if there's a linebacker in the history of the game that would have had comparable numbers to those that played a stand-up line,
sacking,
like either a Mike or a Will. If you looked at it from a per-game production standpoint, I mean, those numbers are mind-boggling. So I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not. Is first and foremost, is the back healed?
That's one way to find out, I guess.
Backs are tricky, right? I mean, everybody kind of knows that. So now the other guy that I think is really impressive is Zaire Franklin, and he's the other linebacker. Last year he played a big role with E.J. Speed, the two linebackers of the Colts that played for the most part. They always have two linebackers that always play on nickel and base downs, and Zaire Franklin, I think, is a really good football player, really, really talented linebacker, and very active. Gus Bradley loves him.
On the defensive line for the Colts, DeForest Buckner is a fantastic player in the middle at
top level
tackle.
Yeah, top level player.
You think he's not obviously Aaron Donald, who is
right?
Where does he rank in that kind of pantheon of
defensive tackles? That's a great question. Aaron Donald's probably at the top with Chris Jones right behind him. And then after that, people could probably argue a little bit. But, I mean, he's somewhere in the
Washington, the guys with the Commanders are pretty good,
yeah,
right?
Jonathan Allen and
Daron Payne.
And I think Daron Payne last year had a better year than Jonathan Allen, so I would have put Payne a little bit higher than Jonathan Allen. Leonard Williams, is a guy that's in the conversation. I would say Buckner's somewhere in that, I put him in the top 5. Baselli wants to put him right outside the top 5. We had this debate earlier today.
Didn't they traded a first-round pick for him,
They did, and he's totally been worth a first-round pick. I mean, if you look in the last 5 years, he's never had less than 7 sacks in a year. And for an interior pass rusher,
that's nice.
That's top numbers. I mean, it's not, 16 like Aaron Donald, 18, 20 like Aaron Donald.
He's a different level.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in that.
If he quit today, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
In the upper room of the Hall of Fame, which
the Deion room,
the Deion room, he would be up there.
Okay,
with Deion. But DeForest Buckner's a really good player. He's really long, 6'6", which is, you don't see a lot of defensive tackles that have that kind of length, which makes him unique. Grover Stewart's a really good defensive tackle that plays right next to him, which obviously helps. With Zaire Franklin, Shaq Leonard at linebacker, E.J. Speed. He played there a lot last year with the injury to Shaq Leonard. So, it's a good unit. It's a tough unit.
The high water mark for points scored for the Jaguars in Indianapolis all time is
31.
Lower.
27.
27. 3 different times, including last season in the loss. They're 2-1 in those games, by the way, scoring 27. But they've never scored more than that ever in either stadium in Indianapolis. I say they're going above that.
Well, if they do, I mean, if you look at the Doug Pederson era, you're 8-1 when you've scored over 24.
Yeah, I like those numbers.
Right?
So it's a scoring league.
You get 27. I mean, it's
it's crazy to think about that, though, right?
The Colts ain't scoring 27. I mean, if you were to score 27, 24, I just don't see how the Colts can generate.
That means there are issues. Like that there's turnovers or giveaways or weird things are happening.
A lot of weird things.
Yeah.
A lot of weird things. I think the Colts, if the Colts are going to find a way to win, they would have to shorten the game, get some takeaways, play really good defense, maybe get a special teams or a defensive score to help out an offense. It would have to be like a 17-13 game for Indy to find a way to win.
Just a slog. Like just
one of those
ugly.
Yeah,
It should be raining and sloppy.
One of those type of games that the NFL doesn't want to see.
Right.
You know, that all the rules that they have are designed to stop this from happening.
1978 reared its ugly head again.
Yeah, because the Colts are going to try to bang it out on the ground
with a multitude of running backs.
Sure,
I mean,
I mean,
whoever's available. Right?
You know, you got 3 of them in their backfield, but then Anthony Richardson is number 4.
True,
but actually probably number 1 on the list.
Yeah, because I mean the guy that's first string on the depth chart is on the injury report.
That's right.
So he may or may not be.
You know, watching the preseason games of Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
You watch him, and he's an immense talent. But you also watch a lot of times the reaction to him. So in other words, you're watching the body language of others on his team to him. And you can tell that the wide receivers have some frustration because when Anthony Richardson decides that, okay, my guy's not there, right when he hits that back foot on his drop, and then he might see a flash, the eyes drop, and then he wants to take off. And then once he takes off, the eyes don't come back up sometimes for the most part. And then he might take off, and literally when he takes off in 2 steps, there's a guy standing right there in front of him wide open. He doesn't see him. And then the body language of the wide receiver that was wide open.
Like, come on, man.
I mean, it's not Keyshawn Johnson. But
throw me the damn ball.
But
right.
But it's along those lines, JP. You know,
right? Hey, coming up in just a few moments, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll hear from Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson in studio. We'll get a chance to pick his brain about this week and this game coming up Sunday in Indianapolis. And you just kind of feel. We were talking to Kai earlier. There's just a confidence around this place. Even though, yes, it's week 1, there's a little, apprehension. It's the first game, butterflies and all that, but there's something to this group, it feels like.
Well, and from earlier when Kai was in here and I was talking about, I don't remember a better group of guys character-wise having been around for all of the years of the Jaguars. Those are the kind of guys that you want to have. And those are the kind of guys that can help you from having missteps, I think is the way to put it. And so I feel very confident about this football team. I don't think it's a gimme. I don't think any games in the NFL are gimme. That's why we were talking earlier, and you were like, we don't want to get 2-score lead. And, wait a minute, this is a 1-possession lead.
You don't
JP.
know we're going 17-0? You didn't realize that? Come on, Lance.
With 17-point leads in every game?
Yeah, just blowing people out, setting records left and right.
The reality is that, this is a 1-score league, and this is a tight league no matter who you're playing. And I think that this is going to be a tough game because it's the first game, and you're still trying to figure out your identity, and you make your identity, and you got to be making a lot of it in the first game.
Also coming up in the next hour on the network, a conversation with Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox. It's the 30th year of the NFL on Fox. He is the only game announcer to be there for all 30 seasons.
Yeah, he's got great genetics.
Marv
broadcasting.
Marv is his dad.
And I've known Kenny a long time. Known his dad. Going way back in the day. And I'm a big fan of Kenny Albert.
So you'll hear part of that conversation coming up. The rest of it will go up on the official Jaguars podcast network tomorrow.
Who's he working with? Isn't he working with Jonathan
Vilma?
Yeah, the former linebacker. Yeah. From the U.
That's right.
Leon Searcy would be proud.
Probably
that he's
so.
going to be in town. Yeah,
probably so. So that'll be a good crew. Yeah, Fox doing an all AFC game. There's no rules anymore on networks covering games. So,
right.
So we're gonna have CBS next week with Ian Eagle and Charles Davis on the Chiefs game, and then it's another Fox game I think in 2 weeks.
Ian Eagle I've known for 35 years, long time.
We'll hear from those guys coming up next week. Coming up next, we'll hear from the Jaguars head coach, Doug Pederson, joining us. This has been Jaguars Happy Hour. Up next is Jaguars Radio Network coverage of the Doug Pederson Show.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show. Brought to you by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
And welcome in. It is the first Doug Pederson Show of the regular season, presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman and Jaguars head coach Doug Pederson in studio with us. Finally, it's here. Week 1, Jaguars Colts this Sunday, and you can just kind of feel it in the building this week.
You really can. The excitement of Week 1, obviously around the National Football League, and of course with us having this new building and breaking it in like we did during training camp, and then nothing better too than going on the road and you got a division opponent to start, right? An AFC South opponent. So a lot of things to be excited about.
How unnerving is the first game for a coach? Because there's so many unknowns. I mean, especially with the Colts. I mean, new staff, a lot of new players, and a new quarterback.
It's the reason I play the starters in training camp, quite frankly, so that we are prepared for Week 1. And but there's still always going to be some unknowns, right? As you mentioned, new head coach, a first-year young rookie, talented quarterback, big, athletic, strong, can throw it about 90 yards. You can't go to sleep on this kid, and so you just have a little uncertainty there as to how they're going to come out and play you, But you just prepare, you stay in the moment, you stay focused on our jobs and what we're supposed to do this week, and, go play and compete.
Logs, I know you can speak to this as well, but Coach, the challenge of defending Richardson, just his skill at Florida, what you saw on tape there, what they might use him with in Indianapolis. How do you teach that? How do you defend an RPO's running style quarterback?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, you think of some of the bigger quarterbacks that we've faced over the year. You think of, a Cam Newton, right? You put him in that Cam Newton, big, strong, athletic, physical quarterback. And you can also take a look at some of the Daniel Jones stuff that they did in New York with him, with the same type of offensive line and coordinator that are there in Indianapolis. And then, of course, what Coach Steichen did in Philly, with Jalen Hurts, another – not a big guy, but a strong quarterback who could run and very athletic. So there's a lot of tape to go through, but go back and watch the Florida stuff. I mean, this kid is big and he's powerful. As we mentioned, he's hard to bring down. Look at some of these preseason games. He's tough to arm tackle. You need to gang tackle him. You need to wrap him up and get him on the ground. Guys
are falling off of him literally in the preseason, and I don't know. I mean, like you mentioned Cam Newton. I mean, that might be the only quarterback in the history of the league to where you had to have a defensive tackling plan for the quarterback. But Anthony Richardson, I think, probably takes it to another level strength-wise than even Cam. He does. And, you say you throw in a Michael Vick, right? Michael Vick's way different. He's quick and twitchy and fast. These guys are big, strong, and powerful, and they got great lower bodies, and that's why you have to wrap up. You have to spend time tackling in practice and doing drill work in practice this week to emphasize that. And when you get the opportunity to make the play, you just make the play and get them on the ground. You mentioned earlier about watching what he did in college. You watch what they did in Philadelphia, and you watch what you can in the preseason. I'm sure it's going to be a little stressful to figure out what they're going to do offensively, but the one thing that is for certain, you're going to see that RPO kind of offense. Is that one of the most challenging offenses that linebackers face on a day-in, day-out basis? I mean, I never had to face that when I was playing linebacker, but I can't imagine. Is it a run? Is the quarterback going to keep it? Or is he going to pull it back out and throw the football? Right. It is a challenge. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of eye discipline. Our RPO game, when we do it with Trevor and our guys, I mean, the defense can't be right. The linebacker is going to try to make a play. Well, then he's out of his gap and we throw it in behind him. Or he wants to stay in his gap. Well, now they're one man removed on defense, so it opens up a running lane. And you kind of block him without blocking him, so to speak. And so it's a challenge for your linebackers. It's a challenge, and they got to stay completely disciplined. And then once they once they diagnose, they have to run and react. And then they got to be good tacklers, and to get the ball carrier on the ground and or the quarterback.
It's the Doug Pederson Show, the first one of the regular season. All right, let's turn it around. You mentioned Jaguars offense and all the weaponry that's out there for you. It's week 1. It's like Christmas Day. What do you pick out from the tree first? How do you narrow it down for a game plan in week one?
You know, the thing that I've been real impressed with our guys, and there is talent on offense, is they're very unselfish. They're very team-oriented players. It doesn't really matter. Whoever's going to have the hot hand is going to have the hot hand. It could be Christian for 6 or 7 catches. It could be Evan. Maybe it's Calvin. Maybe it's Zay. Maybe it's Etienne, Jamal, whoever it is. And you continue to, continue to feed that hot hand. I think the one thing as coaches and play callers, you can't get caught up into saying, okay, I've got to get all our guys this many targets, this many touches. That's not the way the game is played. And we ask our quarterback to do the right thing with the football. So it's exciting to have weapons available to you, but it's also you got to stay within the game plan and the framework of team, right, to be able to get a win and go on the road and do that.
How excited are you for this offense to take the next step? And what I mean by that, you have a quarterback now in year 2 of your system. And your system last year, I'm sure you wanted to keep it, I don't want to say basic, but simplified because it's the first year of the system. How much more advanced can it be for you and Trevor in year 2 as far as giving him flexibility at the line of scrimmage?
It can be a little more flexible for him, and that's the thing that, the key that as coaches we gotta keep in mind is, yes, these guys are in the second year with us. They're very familiar, with the scheme and what we're doing, but we also don't want to bog our quarterback down mentally with too many checks and calls and different things and kills and alerts and all this stuff, but still give him the tools available to put us in the right play, right? To get us out of a bad play into a better play. And this is why I think in year 2 we've seen that with Trevor. We've seen the dialogue with him. We've seen that communication of the things that he likes, doesn't like, even new plays that he wants to bring to us and see if we can implement them in the game plan. And we just continue to coach him to do the right thing with the football, take care of the football, and then move our pieces around by formation, motions, and shifts that we create the most advantageous matchup on the field on any given play.
Do you have to sometimes look at it, Trevor, and go, gosh, he's still only 23?
It's amazing because he's very mature for 23. But, yeah, sometimes you have to just kind of pull back just a little bit and you're like, wow, we've got a lot of years with this quarterback. And to me, that's the exciting part, I think, about this entire offense is just where he is in his maturity, where he is in his growth. Year 2 with us, year 3 in the National Football League. He's played a ton of football already. He's had success now on this stage. It's not the success that we ultimately want, but he's been in big games and he's been able to put the team on his back and go win that football game, right? So those are the things that we're excited about. His leadership ability. He's in a really good spot. He's throwing the ball extremely well. Had a great training camp, that way. Just looking forward to watching these guys play on Sunday.
How well do you know Shane Steichen?
I really don't know him personally, just more professionally, as head coaches and things of that nature. But I've had a lot of respect for him. He's done a nice job. Frank Reich and I, are, of course, are close, and Frank. They've worked together before, and I know Frank speaks highly of him, and I look forward over the next several years getting to know him.
Didn't he work for Mike McCoy? Didn't he? As like a quality control guy.
They were all together in the old San Diego Chargers. They were all together.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I know that coaches always write down, and I'll never forget sitting in Tom Coughlin meetings. His keys to victory was about 50 of them, and most coaches like to be a little bit more simplified than that.
Yeah.
I would have to think that number 1 on your list is protect the football in this ball game.
It's protect the football, and then of course create takeaways on defense. That's the biggest thing. If you this, and the numbers don't lie, right? If you don't turn the ball over, you're about 75% chance of winning the football game. If you turn it over one time, or something like it just drops too. So the numbers are obviously in your favor, and that's the one thing that we have to really do a great job in is protecting the football offensively. Creating takeaways, which they did during the preseason. We got to continue that. Obviously, we preach that now with our defense, creating takeaways. And then when we do, our offense has to score touchdowns. And if you do that, you're going to win. You can win a lot of games in this league. But that, critical penalties, at the wrong time can also get you beat, especially in games like this.
All right, Coach, final thought with you. Division game on the road. Jags haven't won an Indy since 2017. They've dropped 9 of the last 10 at Lucas Oil Stadium. That's the past. It's history. This Jags team is poised to write its own history, isn't it?
It is, and that's the exciting thing about it is it's a new season. It's a new football team. Yeah, we wear the same colors and all that, but these guys are excited. They're excited to take the field, to play with each other, and to really begin this journey. It's a long season, but we take them one at a time, one day at a time, one game at a time, and really looking forward to these guys playing on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching them. And by the way, it's Thursday night. Okay, the big openers tonight. You're going to get a chance to maybe watch a little bit of the game tonight.
I'm going to watch it. I just want to see. Obviously, we play the Chiefs in week 2, so you're going to kind of watch it from a coach's perspective at the same time. But just to kind of, you're a fan of the game, and you love watching football, and it's entertaining, obviously. And so yeah, I'll have it on in my office.
Doug, thanks for the time. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us. Plenty more ahead, previewing Jaguars Colts in week 1. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Hey, Jags fans. Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center in Jacksonville. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson for joining us. Coming up in just a little bit on this show, Kenny Albert of the NFL on Fox, a portion of a conversation that will air in full on the official Jaguars podcast network. But, hey, Doug's ready. The Jags are ready. They're going on the road. Divisional game to get it started. Focus should all be there, and it sounds like some confidence coming out of this building.
Yeah, I think he's confident, but I think as a coach, you probably always have the butterflies, I guess you could say, just because, until you see your product, you really don't know what your football team has become. Every day that they spend on game day is when they're going to start to identify who they are and how they're going to be. But until you get there, you just don't know sometimes.
Yeah, we've seen this offense in training camp and doing things in the preseason, some things in the preseason. But now you're going to be out there for 70 plays.
Well, and that's a big deal. I was having this conversation with Baselli and Bucky and you. We were having our broadcast meeting earlier today, and back in the day when you prepared for the season, you'd play a quarter, and then the second preseason game a half, and then the third preseason game, you'd like to go the first half and then come out after halftime, take a series, and then the last game you didn't play at all. Well, that kind of got you acclimated a little bit close to the number of snaps that you would play in a game, which so typically will fall anywhere in that 60 to 75 range nowadays with the game. But, these guys played maybe 30 snaps at the most, I think, a lot of the first-team guys for the entire preseason. The first game in Dallas, and then the second game they didn't play at all against the Detroit Lions. And then you played some against the Miami Dolphins and you expected to play a whole half, but then it didn't go on. So it's hard. It's hard to simulate game conditioning or getting ready to be game conditioned until you actually play games. And I would say that on average it took my body about 3 games to feel like, okay, now I'm going into week 3 or week 4. Okay, I can handle 65 snaps or 70 snaps and feel like I was okay. Whereas the first couple games, you get in that second half and you're like,
sounds realistic. Wow.
You're gassed.
Pretty good sound effects.
Gassed. Gassed for real. So, and then if it's hot, that's a whole nother layer to deal with. Fortunately, in Indianapolis, it's climate controlled, or the doors will be open, and it should be pretty nice.
Plenty to get to. We'll come back in a moment and break down this Jaguars defense and what they have to do to slow down Anthony Richardson and what the heck that's going to look like on in the Indianapolis offensive scheme. The Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida. And Jags fans want customized Jaguars furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. ZipChair, furniture for fans. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
In partnership with Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, any Jaguars ticket holders who are unable to attend a Jaguars home game can donate their future tickets to a Jacksonville area first responder. Visit jaguars.com/members and click Manage Account. Sign into your account and click Manage Tickets and Parking. Select the game tickets, click on the More button, and then choose to donate to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Firehouse Subs is dedicated to impacting the life-saving capabilities and the lives of local heroes and communities. For more information, visit FirehouseSubsFoundation.org. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment each and every week during the regular season. Coming up, Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox. He has the call of the game this Sunday at Indianapolis. All right, so we promised that Anthony Richardson is the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. The starting running back is not available. Jonathan Taylor, one of the top running backs in the NFL. Hold on, let's get your microphone on. There we go.
Is he on? By the way, is it the PUP, NFI, injured reserve? I mean, there's 3 possible designations because he's not available to play until after week 4, I believe.
Correct.
So I'm just kind of curious as to because it's like I guess he's holding in because he wants a new contract, even though he's had an ankle procedure done.
He is on the physically unable to perform list.
PUP.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. There's that. That means Anthony Richardson, and then now the next running back who would be first string on the depth chart is on the injury report this week. Okay, it's Anthony Richardson. Welcome to the NFL. You don't have your full assortment of weapons with you. You're playing a team that went to the playoffs last year that has every defensive starter back for the most part, that's hungry to get home. Good luck, Anthony. How do you defend him? The way he plays, the way he runs, the size, everything that comes with that.
Well, the first thing is what you do with your eyes. I think that's the first decision that you make as a coaching staff. What are we going to do with our defense's eyes? And you have to keep eyes on him. And what I mean by that is you don't want to play man coverage versus a quarterback that could tuck it and run it at any time. So you have to be able to play zone so that you have 11 potential tacklers on the field all the time. Because if you're playing man, you don't have 11 potential tacklers in reality because people have their backs turned. And because he is a very, what should I say, a talented prospect, I don't want to say talented quarterback because it's yet to be determined.
Oh, he's a freak prospect.
But he's a talented prospect. You know that he has the ability to make some throws and make special runs. We've seen that. But can he do it consistently? So when you, as far as his arm goes, it's better if you make sure you've got a safety that's playing deep to prevent, the monster home run play, which if you're playing man, you're probably more apt to give up. And then also when you're playing man, you don't have your eyes on him. So you play a zone and play a softer zone. And here's the way to kind of compare it. Play like Gus Bradley, right? I mean, play like Gus Bradley. Play that zone, that soft zone. Let him try to complete the stuff underneath to see if he can do it. And then also you have all your guys underneath that have eyes on him so that if he tucks it and runs it, you got people coming up to lay the wood on a running quarterback to see if that 244 pounds that runs 4.43, which is legitimate, 4.43, if he can take the pounding. Because, college and pros is different. Okay, the licks that they put on in the pros is way different than they put on in college. I'm just going to tell you. Some of them are the same, but play in and play out, you're playing with men.
This idea of the RPO scheme, the mesh point and everything that comes with the running back if he pulls it out, I mean, that from a defensive perspective has to be just difficult. One more thing to look at, to think about, to worry about, to make a decision. Am I going after the running back or am I going to let him loose and get by me?
Yeah, and here's a decision for a middle linebacker. Okay, quarterback takes the snap. He opens up to his right. Here comes the running back. He sticks it in the stomach of the running back, and now the linebacker has to make a decision. Is that my responsibility? So I attack the running back. Well, what happens if he pulls it out of the running back's stomach and then keeps it on the outside?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've got the linebacker. He's trying to figure out, am I going to tackle the running back or is he going to keep it and run to the outside? Well, then here comes the third thing. He pulls that ball out of the stomach of the running back, shuffles back 2 steps or 1 step and throws it to a slant route right behind the linebacker who's coming up to attack the line of scrimmage in the handoff look. I mean, that's a hard position to be in if you're a linebacker. It's hard to play fast and furious when you're, I don't want to say indecisive, but you're unsure as to what the play is actually going to be.
We'll come back in just a moment and hear from Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox. He has the call of the game this Sunday. A little later, Jaguars offensive line talk. And the challenge this week, I guess some pretty good players up front for the Indianapolis Colts and in the front 7 of that defense. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime.
For the touchdown.
Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
It's football season and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans, Everbank is building its future on the partnership and the performance you know and trust. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars today for your financial advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
And the Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. The Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts coming up Sunday, Lucas Oil Stadium. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman coming back in just a few minutes. Kenny Albert of Fox Sports sat down with me earlier this week. The full conversation available tomorrow on the official Jaguars podcast network. It's the 30th year of the NFL on Fox. The only game announcer to be there all 30 years, Kenny Albert of Fox Sports, who knows momentum is building for the Jags.
Absolutely, and it's sort of reminiscent. I remember doing a couple of games early on, around 95, 96, 97, when the Jaguars first came into the league. And I specifically remember a game, I'm pretty sure it was 95, meeting with Tom Coughlin for the first time. And then the next year, they have the great success in the playoffs, as did Carolina, the two expansion teams from 95. So I've always been a big fan of Doug Pederson, did many Eagles games during his tenure there, and he's done a terrific job in Jacksonville, watching the progression of Trevor Lawrence and the entire team. Haven't worked a game, like I said, since 2018 involving the Jaguars, but watched the playoff games last year. And in preparing for this game, very excited to sit down with Doug and Trevor and a couple of the others on Saturday and then call the game on Sunday.
Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox with us. Jaguars Colts coming up. Well, you know what helps a head coach have great success is a franchise quarterback, and they seem to have one here in Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence. And we all know what happened his rookie season. Not an ideal start for him, but a reset last year, and about halfway through, he really started to figure it out. But that growth can continue now. Everybody's back. This is a rare moment that everybody almost is back from an offense and a defense, for that matter, from last season, before all the contract things happen in the next year or two. And that can help the quarterback continue to grow. But what can that growth do, for the football team, but for the organization as a whole?
No, you're right, JP. That continuity, having just about every starter back, is huge. You know, we've seen teams that have had success in the past just get decimated in free agency, lose players along the way. But when you talk about Trevor Lawrence, you know, I think back to so many quarterbacks who didn't necessarily have that success right away or even play much the first year. You know, Drew Brees sat his first year out in San Diego. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years in Green Bay behind Brett Favre before he got an opportunity. And you think back to Troy Aikman and Eli Manning and Peyton Manning, their first years, the stats weren't that great. It was a learning experience. So it does take time. And when you look at what Trevor did last year during the second half of the season, you could tell just the confidence is building, working with Doug Pederson and the coaching staff, for the first time and just growing each week. And it certainly plateaued up during the latter stages of the regular season last year into the postseason. And the Jaguars certainly hope that it carries over to the start of this season.
Kenny, how do you defend this Jaguars offense? There's weapons everywhere. They've got a running game if they want it. They can throw it around. They've got a tight end or two. They've added Calvin Ridley. Pound for pound, they can hang with almost anybody.
No, you're right. And defensive coordinators are going to have some tough choices as far as who to double team, for example. I saw Calvin Ridley play so many games in Atlanta, and he's obviously a top talent in the NFL. So I can't wait to watch them on Sunday. And, the Colts are a team that headed in the other direction during the second half of last season, losing their last 7 games. They made the coaching change from Frank Reich to Jeff Saturday. Now they bring in Shane Steichen from the Eagles. So, again, Colts are going to have some decisions to make defensively, and it should be a lot of fun to watch.
Final thought with you, and speaking of the Colts, a lot of changes there. New head coach, as you mentioned, but new quarterback as well, running back issues. There's a lot going on in Indianapolis. But just the unknown of week 1 can be a challenge. What is that going to look like with Anthony Richardson? What do the Colts actually roll out there on Sunday in terms of a scheme? You don't really know. So week 1 has a lot of surprises most years.
Well, I'm sure the Jaguars, and I've read it, they've been watching a lot of Eagles tape, which is where the head coach Shane Steichen, as we just talked about, came from. Excited to watch Anthony Richardson, to sit down with him on Friday and hear his thoughts. I watched their last preseason game against Philadelphia, and you could just see the size, the strength, the athleticism. From all accounts, he's so smart, both on and off the field. Only 13 starts in college, so not a lot of experience. But at the running back position, you mentioned some flux with Jonathan Taylor missing at least the first 4 games. They do have some young wide receivers and some weapons around Richardson. So we'll see what happens. But you're right, week 1, we get these assignments months in advance for week 1, and you spend so much time focusing on week 1, and then the game's over, and all of a sudden you have another one in 7 days. And I'm sure it's the same way for the players and coaches. But everybody's record is even. Everybody's 0-0 at this point. A lot of optimism, I'm sure, in all 32 NFL cities.
Kenny Alberts, the NFL on Fox, and he's got a new book coming out in October. And it is entitled A Mic for All Seasons. He is the only announcer to cover regularly all 4 major U.S. sports at the same time. Crossover season is something else for him. We'll see Kenny Albert on television this Sunday for the Jaguars and the Colts on Fox Sports. Back in a moment, Jeff Lageman back with us. Jaguars offensive line. How do they handle the front 7 for the Indianapolis Colts and Gus Bradley's defense? It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates Frequent Shopper Clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the MyGate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
The 2023 season is Possum. Introducing the Four-Legged Fan Club, the Jaguars' official fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital, your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners and a chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/Four-Legged Fan Club to sign up.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, glad you're with us. Thanks to head coach Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment. Our thanks to Kenny Albert for the time this week. NFL on Fox. The full conversation again tomorrow on the official Jaguars podcast network.
He does more than football.
Yeah, he does every major U.S. sport.
Yeah, I was going to say he's all over the place.
Yeah, and it's constant. He's like the Rangers hockey announcer in New York. He's doing baseball on Fox occasionally now, not as much as he used to.
Is he doing basketball?
He's doing basketball. Like, he's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's nonstop.
I mean, he literally works all the time.
Yeah. There was a stretch, I think, in what year it was. He was on the air like 38 of 44 days or something.
Wow!
Like different sports, back and forth, whatever it was.
And how somebody can kind of reprogram names, numbers on a day-to-day basis like that.
Right. Just info on teams and people. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's impressive.
And the knowledge of all the sports and the rules and everything that comes with
Right.
that, the details that go into the actual game itself.
Kind of a savant.
Well, I mean, yes. Yeah.
I mean,
it runs in the family, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Marv Albert, his dad, the legendary broadcaster.
Hopefully other things don't run in the family.
But Kenny was really good with his time, and we're looking forward to hearing that full conversation on the official Jaguars podcast network. Jaguars offensive line. The challenge this week, DeForest Buckner on the interior of that front.
Long, strong.
Good player.
Yeah, he's kind of odd a little bit in that for many years people didn't think that a 6'6" guy could play defensive tackle because they thought they were suspect to low blocks and couldn't handle them. And you go back to the Colts back in the early days, and they had a couple big, tall, long guys when they were running a 3-4. I think Jonathan Hand was his name. Kind of reminds me of him a little bit. But it's amazing that the Colts were able to get a premier player like him in a trade and gave up just a first-round pick. I mean, that's a small price to pay for a player who is going to give you and has given you many years of great service. And he's been dependable. He's been reliable. He's been consistent. He's good against the run as he is against the pass. He's not one of those one-trick ponies that can either stop the run or rush the passer. He does both very well. I think I think Gus Bradley is very happy to have him. And he's got positional flexibility. He could play tackle. He could play end. He can rush from the edge, although that's kind of not his forte, but he could. Like from a 5 technique to a 3 technique to a 1 technique, he can play them all.
Then you go to the second level of the defense, and Leonard is back out of the concussion protocol. He's back after back surgery last year. He's missed most of the season. And when he's on, he's an all-pro caliber player.
He is, and I don't know if he's going to be on right away. But, the guy that's right alongside him is a good football player, too, in Zaire Franklin. 2 really good linebackers, especially if Shaquille Leonard is back to playing the way that he used to play when he was a 3-time All-Pro in the National Football League. And here's the reality. He should have been 4-time. I mean, his rookie year, he probably should have been an All-Pro player then. But,
yeah, that's right.
It typically takes a year to get the recognition and then the second year to get the votes. And, the weakness, though, with the Colts defense is on the perimeter. On the perimeter of the front seven and the perimeter in the back end. Kwity Paye is a good football player, and they went out and signed in free agency a San Francisco 49er, Samson Ebukam, as a defensive end. A pretty productive player. Can he be good? Can Kwity Paye be good on the edges? And then you've got a second-year corner on one side, a first-year corner on the other, with a draft pick corner in the second round as your nickel kind of player, or should I say fourth corner, because Kenny Moore is your nickel. Your safeties are young. Neither one of them, I think, are over their second year. So, I mean, this is a young group overall. And I think this is an advantage Jaguars with that secondary. But
advantage Jags.
Yeah, advantage Jaguars. But you got to make sure that you're patient because, again, they're not going to be playing uptight and be aggressive. They're going to be playing off a little bit, playing a lot of zone, much
fine.
like they did last year.
That's okay. Yeah, this can be a patient team.
Well, and I think Trevor last year, I remember was it week 2, the first Colts matchup.
Yes,
I believe it was week 2.
Yes,
and we were talking about it leading up to the game and knew how Gus Bradley played. Can Trevor have the patience? Because, a lot of young quarterbacks, they don't want to have the patience to continue to take what the defense has given them. Sometimes they want to force it for an extra 10 yards, try to make a big play instead of, be happy with a 5-yard completion every now and again. And, hopefully he gets run after the catch. And Trevor did, I think, a masterful job against the Colts last year. I mean, you look at the numbers, and I've got them right here. 45 of 52, that's an 86.5% completion rate, 400 yards passing, 3 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. If he continues to have the patience like he had last year, this should be a good day for the Jaguars offense against a Colts defense that I think is going to be put on the field more than they want to be.
I like that.
When I say more than they want to be, I think the Colts offense is going to struggle like most young quarterbacks will in their first game.
Quick changes, whatever it is. Right?
Well, 3 and outs or, turnovers or things of that nature, which will put even more pressure on a Colts defense. And the reality is your strength is your wide receiver skill set, your skill position guys, okay, and Trevor. And the Colts' weakness is the cornerbacks, the secondary as a whole. And can they hold up? I think that's a lot to ask of them.
Back in a moment, more preview of this Jaguars-Colts matchup at Lucas Oil Stadium Sunday, 1 o'clock, the kickoff time. And this is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
It's football season, and time to take your game to the next level with a Ford F-150 truck. Light up your tailgate with an available Pro Power onboard generator. And with an available 3.5-liter EcoBoost engine, you can tow just about anything you need to rule the stadium lot. Ford F-150, part of the F-Series lineup that have been the best-selling pickups for 46 straight years. Get to your local Ford store today. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime.
For the touchdown.
Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
The Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and Jeff Lageman. The Jaguars and the Colts coming up Sunday, 1 o'clock, Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indy. Our thanks to Doug Pederson joining us in the opening segment. Kenny Albert, NFL on Fox. He has the play-by-play of the game on Sunday on television. It's time now for the Microsoft question of the night. And, yeah, Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. Hey, Logs, here's the question for you.
What do you got?
A couple of them, I guess. Questions, plural. What is your greatest concern for the Jaguars entering Week 1? And what are you most confident in about this team entering Week 1?
Well, confidence-wise, it's Trevor and the coaching staff. I mean, I think the two of them are a perfect fit, and it can't get any better than that. Concerns, are you talking about concerns just for this game, this week, or concern for the season?
You know, let's go with the game first. Let's go with the game first.
For the game, the only concern that I have is that in Week 1, a lot of times surprises happen and unknowns can happen. And if that happens to the Jaguars, or if they turn the ball over or something like that, or in this ball game, then all of a sudden you get a young team in Indianapolis that's going to generate some momentum at home and gain confidence. And that obviously concerns me, is that if you turn the ball over early in a game like that, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, you know. In a game like that, for the season, though, as a whole, concerns, I mean, there's some concerns. I mean, can the defense – with as potent as the offense is, well, we believe it's going to be.
We think.
And JP, you know, they're going to be playing with all those, two-possession leads that you say.
You're going to blow them out every week. I mean, get used to it. Get used to it. That's what I say.
Can you rush the passer effectively with all these two-possession leads?
It's a new era
that JP said
around here. This ain't 2008.
I mean, that's the pass defense. I mean, you look at the numbers last year, because that's what you have to do. You have to go back and you have to look at the numbers from last year, the history. And last year, I think the takeaways by the defense was a big help for them overall, performance-wise.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to argue that. I mean, they had 27 takeaways that led to 104 points of the offense. I mean, that's a tremendous number, 27. And that was the fourth most takeaways in the National Football League. And because of those numbers, of the takeaways, it kind of covered up maybe some warts in the overall performance of the defense. Because if you look at some of the other categories, defense against the pass, they were like 28th, and third down production, they were 29th in percentage allowed. I mean, so those aren't very favorable numbers. I mean, that's bottom 5 of the league, right? And so you want to make sure that you improve on those categories this year, but you may not have 27 takeaways to help bail you out, to help those categories out. So that would be a concern of mine about this football team. For example, you remember, let's go back in Jaguars history.
I can't wait for this history lesson.
2017, which was one of the most prolific defenses in the history of the National Football League that year, 2017, the Jaguars defense. Takeaways, I mean, they were amazing.
Statistically, yes. They were up there, yes.
They were starting, they're 85 Bears-ish, I mean, the numbers were incredible.
Yes.
But then next year, what happened? I mean, the wheels fell off.
You think?
Especially from a takeover standpoint. So you hope that, I mean, and Doug mentioned it earlier about the takeaways, because I brought it up about protecting the football, and his first response was, but also taking the ball away. And I think this defense, you hope, and they did in the preseason. They did a really good job of it in the preseason. Obviously, Mike Caldwell does a really good job of emphasizing that, and his coaching staff does a really good job of teaching that, because last year it showed. So far in the preseason it showed, and you just want it to continue to show in the regular season.
Yeah, and there's ball hawks on the back end that are flying around eager to see some in the air this week, and that can be where you can take an advantage on a rookie quarterback. Everything's moving fast. If you can keep him contained in that pocket and he's got to throw one up in a hurry, yeah, okay.
Well, and look, Anthony Richardson was a barely over 54% completion percentage quarterback in college. And you've got a secondary that's been working together for quite some time and pretty good. And you got 4 guys on the defense that had 3 interceptions last year. One of them being a linebacker in Devin Lloyd, which is crazy, right, to have a linebacker to have those kind of numbers. But, I really like Andre Sisco in the back end. Rayshawn was tremendous last year. I mean, the 2 games, the 2 big plays that he had, the Tennessee game, the Dallas game. I mean, you're talking about game-winning type of plays. Tyson Campbell looks ready to take that next step into the group of elite cornerbacks in the National Football League, maybe. So you're excited about those guys because they're all back. But the question mark still remains. Darius Williams, how's he going to do, and who's going to be the third corner?
Trey Herndon's going to be the third corner, right?
Well, I think this week. I think you're going to lean on Trey a little bit this week because Trey's a really good tackler. Trey's a very physical presence when he plays nickel, and I don't know what Indy's going to do. I mean, what personnel grouping are they going to do? I mean, you look at the way their roster is constructed. They've got 4 wide receivers on their roster, and I believe 4 tight ends. I mean, so how are they going to play the game? What's the style that they're going to play?
Are they lining up in the Notre Dame box? What are they doing?
Well, I mean,
only 4 receivers? I'm kidding, of course.
I don't expect them to come out in a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. I don't. I think that they're going to run a lot of tight end heavy groupings, whether it be 2 tight ends, maybe 3 tight ends, limit the number of wide receivers on the field, because they're going to come out and they're going to try to pound the football and then try to do a lot of short stuff for Anthony Richardson to make some easy completions, do a lot of the RPO stuff, let him run, get him comfortable, get him in the flow of the game. And so the Jaguars, to minimize some of the effectiveness of that offense, you're going to have to tackle well, because if you don't tackle well, then all of a sudden the leaky yardage is going to start hurting you.
We're back in just a moment. A preview of Sunday's game and television tonight. This is the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Everyone wins when 2 great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Ever wish you could make your Mondays go a little smoother? Here's a pro tip. Order online to dodge the line and kick off your week with free coffee Mondays. Every Monday through October 30th, Dunkin' Rewards members can get a free medium hot or iced coffee with any purchase. And you get to earn points to spend on even more free Dunkin'. Not a member? Join Dunkin' Rewards on the app and get even more Dunkin' deals. Nothing beats Dunkin' Rewards. Jaguars run on Dunkin'. Limit 1 per member per Monday. Additional charges and terms may apply. Exclusions may apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Yes, it does. Presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars, Colts, 1 o'clock kickoff time. Lucas Oil Stadium, week 1 kickoff weekend. Can't wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait for tonight.
Oh, yeah, there's football tonight, too. The world champs, the Chiefs, are hosting the Lions, right? Yes.
Yeah, of course. They're Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, that's right.
They get to...
that would be
get to open at home, right?
That would be a rough draw if you had to all of a sudden go on the road to Detroit week 1.
I said this earlier. I think this is going to be a good football game. I think it's going to be closer than what many people believe. I think Detroit is – I don't want to say that they're ready to contend, but look,
you never know in that division.
The list of contenders in the NFC is pretty short.
I'm saying that division's different now. Aaron Rodgers ain't walking through that door.
I think that they're going to be top dogs in that division. I like Dan Campbell. Talked with him at the Jaguars joint practices that they had, and he's kind of an old school coach, but he's still got a little newness flair to him.
What was his line about biting kneecaps or something when he first got the gig?
It's kind of that Monty Python approach. He's got the attitude, keep biting him even if you don't have any arms left.
I've not yet begun to fight.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, so that'll be tonight.
By the way, if I get into a backroom barroom fight, I want Dan Campbell there. He's still a big dude.
Yeah, you want him on your side.
I think he could still block some people.
He can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants, I think. Tonight, television, Jaguars All Access,
Excited.
Strings Sports Brewery in Springfield. Great venue, TVs all over the place. Should be a packed house, and your special guest is?
Well, it's me, Martineau, and Kai, and then Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, tight end.
Excited about having him. He's a super nice guy. Really good football player and very thoughtful. When you talk to him, he's as good of a guy as you'll ever imagine. And so I know that people are really excited to kind of kick this thing off with Jaguars All Access at Strings tonight at 7 o'clock.
They have good beer there.
They do have good beer. Their
Great
food is good, too.
Yeah, they got it all.
They
got it all there.
Yes, indeed.
So check it out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this game Sunday. Can't wait, man. It's been such a long off season after the way it ended last year, and I think a lot of people in this building have that same taste in their mouth.
Look, it's a new year. There's excitement. You hope this football team establishes division dominance right out of the gate, and picks up where they left off as far as the performance of Trevor and the entire team. I'm excited as I've ever been.
Way to go, Logs. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, excited to talk to you next time after a W.
I like that.
I hope.
Are you locking it? Is it a lock?
I'm not locking. I don't lock.
You don't believe it?
I'm not a locker.
We're just having fun here. Fun.
That's why they play the game.
That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. Our thanks to Brent Reber, David Cho, Joe Fortunato, Andrea Curry, and thanks to you for listening to the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.